I'd like to give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rachah HaKodash, double honors unto the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well. Salutations to Yahweh that puts the word of Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai in truth and in sincerity. Okay, coming back at you with another lesson. And I believe the title of this lesson will be The Lord Came in the Flesh and the Names Matter. All right. And through the Spirit, I came up with that title based on reading some Hebrews. All right. So there's a couple points here in the book of Hebrews, the second chapter, that I want to touch upon, showing that Yahweh Shai, he actually came in the flesh. All right. Contrary to what these so-called Christians believe. You know, the average so-called Christian, truly believes that, the Lord doesn't have a physical lineage that he descended from. All right, the same way that they, these heavy rollers, Christians, the same way they have a lineage that they stem from. And the Lord Yahweh Shai, he had the same. Okay, so I'm gonna start here in the book of Hebrews, chapter 2, and let's see, verse 7. All right, I'm gonna read this first in the KJV, then I'm gonna read it in the NLT. It says, "Thou madest him a little lower than angels, thou crownedest him with glory and honor, and didst set him over the works of thy hands." All right, now this in verse 7 is talking about man. All right, when the Apostle Paul is he's writing this to the Hebrews, he's referring to man. All right, and it'll make more sense in NLT. All right, so and we got to understand that Adam was given dominion over the creatures. The Lord actually brought the creatures to Adam, the creation, to be named. All right, so we also know too that Yahweh Shai was Adam, in one of his prior lives. Okay, in the reincarnation, Yahweh Shai was Adam. Okay. Verse 8, it says, "Thou hast put all things in subjection under his feet, for in that he put all in subjection under him, he left nothing that is not put under him." Now we see not all things put under him. All right, the whole earth is out of course right now. Things aren't in their proper state. Okay. As you see here, it says Yahweh Shai briefly humbled. Okay, so you got to think about Yahweh Shai's heavenly state. Okay, in which all right, and you see how it's broke down here: earth subject to man. That's why I went into this. Man was made a little lower than angels. Okay, and Yahweh Shai, when he's his spiritual state, being in the spirit world, on the right hand side of the heavenly Father. Guess what? When he comes to the earth, he comes in the form of an Israelite. All right. Okay. A son of God. All right. So Yahweh Shai briefly humbled. All right. So he was humbled by suffering what he suffered on the account of paying for the sins of first and foremost for himself and then for the nation of Israel. All right. So it says Yahweh Shai briefly humbled. Hebrews 2:9, it says, "But we see Yahweh Shai." So it says here that going back to verse 8, it says, "But now we see not all things put under him." All right, so the earth, like I said, is out of course, and it's not in its proper order. All right, so we don't see, the kingdom of heaven as far as how the order is going to be established during the kingdom of heaven. We don't currently see that, but what we do see, all right, through the Spirit and through these scriptures is this verse 9, Hebrews 2:9, it says, "But we see Yahweh Shai who was made a little lower than the angels for the suffering of death, crowned with glory and honor, that he, by the grace of the Most High, should taste death for every man. Okay? So via the scriptures, we see that, Yahweh Shai was made a little lower than the angels, and that he suffered death, and he's currently crowned with glory and honor. Okay? Because he tasted death for every man, being Israelite. All right? The Lord died for the nation of Israel, but first and foremost for the elect. Okay? Verse 10, it says, "For it became him for whom are all things, and by who are all things, and bringing many sons unto glory, to make the captain of their salvation perfect through suffering." Okay, so Yahweh Shai was made perfect through the sufferings that he suffered. And likewise, we're being made perfect through what we suffer. All right. Verse, let me see, 11. It says, "For both he that sanctifieth and they who are sanctified are all of one, for which cause he is not ashamed to call them brethren, saying, I will declare thy name unto my brethren. In the midst of the church will I sing praise unto thee." All right. So Yahweh Shai says that he revealed his name, the Lord, the Heavenly Father's name, which is Yahweh, unto his brethren. So if you ain't calling on the true names of Yahweh while Yahweh Shai, then you are not Yahweh Shai's brother. Okay? You can't claim to be, a brother of Yahweh Shai, or of the Lord, a child of the Heavenly Father, and you don't even call on the names of Yahweh while Yahweh Shai. Okay? And you got congregations, church congregations within the world of Israel, or Israelites that, in the case of IURC, that teach, various other names. You can call the Lord whatever you want to call him. Most High in Christ bless. That's not the Lord's name. Okay? So how can you honestly say that, you're the Lord's brother? Okay? And you're not calling him by his proper name. All right? Even the Heavenly Father, how can you say you're a son of the Heavenly Father and you don't even call him by his true name? All right? It says, in verse 13, it says, "And again I will put my trust in him, and again, behold, I and the children which the Most High hath given me. For as much then as the children are partakers of flesh and blood, he also himself likewise took part in the same." All right, Yahweh Shai. He himself, all right, took part in being flesh and blood, because he's the first child of the only begotten of the Heavenly Father in the spirit world. All right. So it's only right that, he comes in the form of one of his chosen people, all right, through the lineage of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, when he comes on earth. Okay? It says, "For as much then as the children are partakers of flesh and blood, he also himself likewise took part of the same, that through death he might destroy him that had power of death, that is, the devil." So the way Yahweh Shai defeated death, okay, was by coming in the flesh. If Yahweh Shai didn't come in the flesh, he wouldn't be able to conquer death. He wouldn't have had conquered death. All right. The reason why, the way the Lord conquered death was in the flesh. Okay. That's the way the Heavenly Father Yahweh set it up. Which that in itself is a mystery that, boggles the mind of Christians. Verse 15, it says, "And deliver them who through fear of death were all their lifetime subject to bondage." All right. So the nation of Israel, like people that fear death, are mentally not free. All right. And pretty much Christianity have your mind pretty much what's the word, in bondage. All right, Christianity, these different doctrines, all right, even waking up to the knowledge of being an Israelite. But if you got a flawed doctrine, your mind is not free. Okay, so through all this religion and things of that nature, calling on the wrong name, calling on Jesus Christ, calling on just God, all that, you know, uh, that has you in bondage. Your mind's not free. Okay, and that's how, in particular these churches, they get their congregation because they got them really believing that if they die, they're gonna go burn in hell if they're wicked. Okay, and so that mental bondage, forces them to get in, get more involved in that religion or whatever, and be completely bugged out. All right, further and further into bondage, the sunken place. All right, verse 16, it says, "For verily he took not on him the nature of angels, but he took on him the seed of Abraham." All right, he came from the lineage of Abraham. "Wherefore in all things it behooved him to be made like unto his brethren, that he might be a merciful and faithful high priest in all things pertaining to the Most High, to make reconciliation for the sins of the people." All right, the people of Israel. "For in that he himself suffered being tempted, he is able he is able to succor them that are tempted." All right, so Yahushua defeated death, all right, in the flesh, and by doing that, now that he's in the spirit world, he's able to spiritually help us that are being tempted. Okay, being in this flesh and going through hell that we go through, we have an intercessor, okay, in the spirit world that um, succors us. All right, let's look that word succor up, which is pretty much to help us. So it comes from the G997, Boe Thetho, if I'm pronouncing that correctly.
Strong's G997, by Atheo. By Atheo.
Here in the biblical usage it says to help, succor, bring aid. Okay, to aid or relieve, help, succor. All right. So Yahweh Shai is our true aid. All right, our true help in a time of need. All right, which that's why it's important to pray. You gotta pray. Now let's read that in the NLT. Hebrews 2:7 in the NLT. It says, "Yet you made them only a little lower than angels, and crowned them with glory and honor." All right. It says you gave them authority over all things. Now, when it says all things, it means nothing is left out. But we have not yet seen all things put under their authority. All right. In the kingdom of heaven, everything is going to be put under the authority of the nation of Israel. But there's going to be levels to that in itself. All right. Starting with Yahweh Shai, King David, the 12, so on and so forth. All right. It's going to be a righteous government. A harmonious constitution, order, government. All right, the word world, cosmos in the Hebrew or Greek, excuse me. It says what we do see is Yahweh Shai, who was given a position a little lower than angels. All right, this is what we got right now, and because he suffered death for us, for the nation of Israel, for the elect, starting with the elect. All right, but for the whole nation of Israel. Okay, and because he suffered death for us, he is now crowned with glory and honor. Yes, by the Most High's grace, Yahweh Shai tasted death for every one. All right, so we got to be thankful to the Heavenly Father that, you know, uh, through the Most High's grace, you know, Yahweh Shai actually, you know, went through that for the nation of Israel. All right, that's the man. And the water Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, you know, we truly serve a merciful power. All right. Um, verse 10 it says, "The Most High, for whom and through whom everything was made, chose to bring many children into glory." All right, the elect, starting with the elect. Okay, the Lord is bringing us into glory, man. All right, our minds have been illuminated. We're fixated on the kingdom of heaven. We understand these mysteries. All right. It says, and it was only right that he should make Yahweh Shai, through his suffering, a perfect leader, fit to bring them into their salvation. All right. So Yahweh Shai is the pioneer, man, the forerunner, and through him we receive salvation, not through the law. All right. So now Yahweh Shai and the ones he makes holy have the same Father. That is why Yahweh Shai is able, that is why Yahweh Shai is not ashamed to call them his brothers and sisters. All right. So when you know, or if being of the elect, all right, because it all starts with the elect. Being of the elect, you're a true brother or sister of Yahweh Shai. Okay. And you know, with that, you're gonna call on your father's name. You know, you ain't gonna call on some some deity or some idol's name. You're gonna call on the name of Yahweh while Yahweh Shai. You're gonna call on the name of the Heavenly Father Yahweh through his son Yahweh Shai. All right, that's just the way it works. Verse 12 says, "For he said to the Most High, I will proclaim your name to my brothers and sisters. I will praise you among your assembled people." He also said, "I will put my trust in him, that is, I and the children the Most High has given me." So that's who we trust in. All right, we trust in Yahweh through Yahweh Shai. It says, because, verse 14, because the Most High's children are human beings. This is the main point right here. Because the Most High's children are human beings. All right. Because the Israelites are human beings made of flesh and blood. Right. Made of flesh and blood. The Son also. All right. We're all children, right? Correct? We just read that. We're all children. All right. The Israelites, starting with the elect, are considered to be the children of the Heavenly Father. All right. So on this side, you know, the elect of the nation of Israel are the children of the Heavenly Father through Yahweh Shai's sacrifice. Okay. And their flesh and blood. So what does that make Yahweh Shai when he came on the scene? That makes him, you know, he actually lived that life on earth in flesh and blood. All right. Same as when he was Adam. Same as when he was Solomon. Okay. It says the Son also became flesh and blood. All right, talking about Yahweh Shai. For only as a human being could he die, and only by dying could he break the power of the devil, who had the power of death. Okay, so Yahweh Shai conquered death in the flesh. All right, through the Spirit of the Heavenly Father, Yahweh Shai was born. All right, and lived on the earth. He was in the flesh, okay, but the Spirit of the Lord was upon him to fulfill his will, and through that he conquered death. Okay, verse 15. Only in this way could he set free all who have lived their lives as slaves to the fear of dying. Okay, and that's just Jake, period. All right, before you knew about the truth, okay, the thought of death, you didn't know what comes next. You know, you was bugged out. You was into Catholicism, Christianity, Seventh Day Adventist. You know, Rastafari or whatever the hell Jake was involved in and believing. Okay, but then you come into the truth and you're illuminated, and you believe, and you know through knowledge you believe, and you realize like, man, what the hell, you know. Um, verse 16 he says, we also know that the Son did not come to help angels; he came to help the descendants of Abraham. All right, Isaac and Jacob. Therefore, it was necessary for him to be made in every respect like us, his brothers and sisters, so that he could be a merciful and faithful high priest before the Most High. Then he could offer a sacrifice that would take away the sins of the people, which that sacrifice was himself. All right, Yahushua had to be sacrificed himself in order to be the lamb, all right, without spot or blemish, that was worthy of taking away the sins of the nation of Israel. Verse 18 it says, since he himself has gone through suffering and testing, he is able to help us when we are being tested. All right. So that's it. That was a whole lot right there, but that proves that Yahweh Shai came in the flesh. All right. This is Wisdom of Solomon 7:1. It says, I myself also am a mortal man, like to all, and the offspring of him that was first made of the earth. All right. So we know that King Solomon in the reincarnation was Yahweh Shai. Okay. Um. So King Solomon is saying that every man that's that's born on the earth, got the there's something that they all have in common. All right, and we're reading it. Verse 1, it says, I myself also am a mortal man, like to all, and the offspring of him that was first made of the earth. And in my mother's womb was fashioned to be flesh in the time of 10 months. Okay, being compacted in blood of the seed of man, and the pleasure that came with sleep. All right, of the seed of man. All right, a man gets a woman pregnant. All right, and months later they have a child. All right, the child is being compacted in blood. Being pretty much uh, what's the word I'm looking for? Being pretty much made in the mother's womb. All right, put together, so to say, for lack of a better term. All right. It says, and when I was born, I drew in the common air and fell upon the earth, which is of like nature, and the first voice which I uttered was crying, as all others do. And I was nursed in swaddling clothes, and that with cares, for there is no king that had any other beginning of birth, for all men have one entrance into life, and the light going out. Okay? And that's pretty self-explanatory. Everybody walking on the planet was born of a man and a woman. All right, so this is Wisdom of Solomon 7:1, and this is going to be in the GNT. It says, like every human being, I am mortal. I am a descendant of the first man who was made from the soil. I was conceived from the sperm of a man in the pleasure of intercourse. For 9 months my flesh took shape in the blood of my mother's womb. All right, and that's literally, what the process that happens, for people to get, a child. You know what I'm saying? For a woman to get a child, for a man to get a woman pregnant so they can have a child. That's the process. Okay. Now through Esau's demonic technology, he got all these different gadgets and systems in which they can have a surrogate and get eggs pregnant and incubator babies and all kind of crazy stuff. All right, but that's all witchcraft. Verse 3 it says, "When I was born, I came into the world like anyone else. I began to breathe the same air with all breath. Excuse me, and I began to breathe the same air we all breathe, and like everyone else, the first sound I made was a cry. I was wrapped in clothes and cared for. No king ever began life differently. All right, no king, no peasant, ever uh, began life differently. Came from a baby to old man and dying. That person never came on the earth and actually lived a life via a different means. All right. Uh, it says for all of us, there is a one way into life and there is one way out. Okay. So one way in, one way out. All right. You're born and then you give up the ghost. All right. Now in the kingdom of heaven, we ain't gonna die, but on this side, that's what it is. Revelation 22, and this is verse 16, and this is Yahushai. It says, "I Yahushai have sent my angel to announce these things to you in the churches. I am descended from the family of David. I am the bright morning star." All right. So Yahushai even said that he's a descendant. All right. From the family of David. All right. So Yahushua was a descendant of the family of David, and and for that to be means that it was through uh, a man's seed. Okay, as it says here, Wisdom of Solomon 7:1. It says in the G&T, it says, "I am a descendant of the first man who was made from the soil," which was Adam. It's talking about Adam. All right. So Yahushua, he actually came in the flesh. All right. The Lord came in the flesh, and the names of Yahweh, Yahushua, are very important. All right. These couple precepts we just read prove that. All right. So that pretty much concludes the lesson. Abarazazah, this was edifying. Until next time, I say shalom.